I'm happy to welcome Sebastian Borza, who is the influencer marketing manager for Magic Mind, and he is also the founder and CEO of a very, very exciting startup. Sebastian, how are we feeling today? You're talking to us all the way from Romania.
Amazing. Thank you for the invite. Very grateful to be here. Uh, it's awesome to be here, and just want to add, uh, MV Social is like for a bit of context for everyone. MV Social is our influencer marketing agency, and we've been with Magic Mind since its early days. I believe that's 5 years ago, and I believe we've had MV Social for the past 6 years or so.
Nice. And how has that been? You're managing a brand directly, and then you're also helping other brands scale. Are you taking learnings from one and putting it into the other? Is it the agency feeding the brand, or your experience with the brand feeding the agency?
Yeah, I think basically it was the need to create the company, the agency, was because I've seen how initially we said, let's create an influencer marketing agency because there's so much in the space. But I quickly realized that actually the value is in building it from the inside.
Mm,
So building it from the outside is sometimes tends to be a bit too transactional. But if you as a brand get to own the relationship forever, that is your biggest asset you can get from influencers. So that's when we decided to switch the model and to find few clients that we can merge with and work from within and that we can become true partners with. These were brands that we really believed in and that had incredible products.
that's amazing. And you can find Sebastian on LinkedIn and get to experience this very interesting symbiotic relationship that you're building with your brands. But let's talk about this one brand in particular, because I am personally obsessed with Magic Mind. I just told him backstage that I drank like a little bit more than a single person serving because it's just so delicious and it does give you kind of a boost of energy. But I want to talk to you about how you took Magic Mind from 1 million to 120 million plus valuation just using creators. That is such an insane scale up. Like, even if you were doing this via all the other marketing methods that you see in the D2C world, email, SMS, retention, CRO, performance marketing, you were able to just do this using influencer and affiliate, which is super, super impressive to me. So, talk to me a little bit about when Magic Mind was not the behemoth that it is today, when it was around $1 million. What was your creative strategy like? Because I'm imagining that it grew and changed so dramatically in the days since.
Yeah, for sure. I just want to clarify that it wasn't all influencers. I would
Yeah.
say influencers and creators have been a core of our brand since the beginning and
Yeah.
has been one of the levers that allowed us to scale the way we did. I would say one of the main levers, but we also did other things too. I would say in the beginning, when Magic Mind was just an infant, it had the same problem any D2C health and wellness brand has, which is trust. So when
Mm,
you're a small brand, even when you have amazing founders like we did at Magic Mind behind that have a story, the founder story being one of the key ways to market brands even today, we still had very few, let's say very low clout as a brand. We had under
yeah.
10K followers on Instagram. We had a product that you had to drink. You had to believe that is good for you. You had to believe it's safe.
Yeah.
And of course, you can put all the studies and the copy you want on the website, but trust is not something you can just generate from copy. So
Right.
in the early days, I would say it was way more difficult to get the influencers that we wanted and get creator relationships that really made sense for us as a brand. And we really, really wanted like specific creators because we were like, oh, he's so incredible in productivity, in health and wellness, and like he's such a key speaker in neuroscience. But it was very difficult to get the trust of these people. So what we
Right.
had to do was start from the bottom and work with as many small, micro, and medium-sized creators. We first ran a performance program that, unlike I would say most brands 5, 6 years ago, we didn't do Instagram. We did very little TikTok in the beginning. We just did long format integrations. Long
Okay.
format integrations allow the brand to have more room to explain the value of the product and to create more trust over like 2 minutes instead of 15 seconds.
And what was that inflection point for you when you realized, okay, now that I've built this program with the smaller creators and I've gained the trust, I now have enough clout to start going after the bigger influencers where their reach is like multiples of times bigger. Folks who have built their communities and who have like a strong name identity. Well, what was that inflection point for you? Like, what was the turning point where you're like, oh, wait, Now Magic Mind has grown enough and we have the trust in the market and bigger influencers want to work with us. Talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, that's a great question. I would say it was we didn't really take that as a main KPI, like the cloud of the brand. Our question was just how can we scale as much as we can in the fastest
Mm,
way while maintaining quality. And I would say the inflection point was because 5 years ago there was no AI, 6 years, 5, 6 years ago. So everything we had to do with creators was meant create, outreach, create, and maintain relationships by hand.
yeah.
So what we did is we scaled the team. This was just for Magic Mind. We scaled it from, I believe we started with like three and we scaled it to 10 in the first probably 7, 8 months. We had 10
Oh,
people just doing deals. And I believe in around 2.5 years or three, we got to 37 people.
from 3 to 37.
Yeah,
And does that I'm assuming like the reflection of like the number of folks working on those deals means that the number of folks you're doing deals with multiplied exponentially.
exactly. Like the question was, how can we multiply the number of deals that we make? And
Mm,
also, I think there's also another key aspect. It's in the beginning, probably most brands start with performance creator partnerships. Like that is the
yeah,
most logical way to do it. You
yeah,
invest an amount of money, you want to see a return that's positive, that brings positive for us, basically. But
yeah.
when you get the chance to expand, you have the possibility of creating different programs for influencers that have other purposes. For example,
Mm,
the most basic purpose is for content, but also it could be something more complex, like, hey, we're going to invest in this creator because his virality score is super high. We expect him to pop off in like 4 months. We know we're going to pay something a bit extra. We're not going to count on the first ROAS, but we know we're going to have an incredible partner, possibly in like a few months.
that's incredible. Someone did ask just now in the chat. They were like, "You have 37 team members on your influencer team." Did I hear that correctly? And it does just go to show that you started with the understanding that hey, I'm not going to be super large tomorrow, but my focus is scale. So I have a question for you. There's a difference in how you structured the affiliate deals early on. You just talked about like performance affiliates and like performance marketing. Obviously, partly because people want to see results and guarantee results before they pay money. How has like the affiliate deals changed? Like the structure changed from when you were first working out, not a lot of folks working with you, to now you have 37 team members who are just out there getting deals day in, day out. And you have like name recognition. People know what Magic Mind is. How has that changed the calculus for you? And do you now have more leverage as a brand? What has that relationship been like?
Yeah, I think that changes the whole deal. Whenever you get to the point where you reach out to creators and the first answer is, I love Magic Mind, that just changes the whole dynamic of everything you do because you
Mm,
don't have to negotiate as hard. You don't have to get them more excited about the product. They already have that. You don't have to handhold them that much for creating content. They
mm,
will inherently want to do a good job because they love the brand. So
yeah.
the early work is done for you already. When in the early days, when people don't know you, you gotta get them excited about the product. That's usually done through a call because otherwise it's very low impact. You got to sometimes negotiate pretty heavily. You got to also handhold them for the content because they
Yeah.
most of the times don't really know the positioning of the product. So you have to
Mhm.
explain how to position it inside. I would
And you've kind of
say
seen what works before too, right? Like you have all those learnings from the influencers you've worked with up until that point.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. And I would say what changes in terms of the affiliate program is
Hmm.
we personally haven't used affiliate as a program by itself for a growth. We've mostly used affiliate as a tool in our partnerships, as let's say a negotiation tool, which is we either have a flat fee or we have an affiliate or we have product barter. So it's
Yeah.
basically working with as many creators as we can and getting the best deal that we can that makes sense for us and the creator at the same time. Affiliate being one of the tools, but we've done minimal campaigns that were just affiliate or decline.
Okay, no, that makes sense. So scale is an easy word to say. It is a very hard thing to do, as you just described. It's messy sometimes. What breaks when you start with 50 creators and then scale to 500? What breaks from when you go to 500 to 1,000 10,000 creators, 20,000 creators, certain of the processes that you built out early on for like those smaller numbers definitely needed to change. So what do brands need to keep in mind, and what lessons have you learned from Magic Mind?
Yeah, that's a great question because you would assume, and I did as well in the beginning, that whenever you want to scale from 50 to 500, for example, if you would have one person handling 50 creators, you want to scale to 500, you get 10 people. People solved. It doesn't work like that. It doesn't scale linearly because the more people you add on, the complexity increases. You have more overhead. You have to have support roles. You got to have support positions, systems. You are super tech dependent. Every mistake radiates. It doesn't affect one person. It affects like the entire 37 people team. And it's you have to be way more careful with everything you implement. All the systems need to be, they would ideally have to be already done and designed for that much scale and growth, but they rarely are. They were not for us either. I would
Yeah.
say the first thing that breaks is understand is like a required change in the model. I'll give you a brief example. In the beginning, when you have 5, 10 people, you have, let's say you onboard the fifth person, you assign them a target, or like, here's the campaign that we are running. This is what we want to do. Go get some creators. Let's sign them. Let's create incredible content. So they're in charge of everything: sourcing, negotiating, outreach, inbound replies, content creation, onboarding calls, everything, right? You can afford to do that in theory. And you can
Yeah.
also pretty much teach, coach along the way. You do a in-person management or in the Zoom management
Right.
with one manager, 5 people, it's pretty doable. If you
Right. You're
want
very
to,
hands on.
yeah, you do everything basically.
Yeah.
What we've noticed is that when you go off over like 15 people, this system no longer works because
Mm,
what happens when someone leaves? Someone has to take over the entire relationships. What happens when someone intentionally like or unintentionally does a bad job? Usually unintentionally does a bad job. Someone has to take over for them. Who takes over? They have to like leave their own leads and handle the other person. It's a whole mess. So we had to design a system from scratch that allowed us to build that while continuing to do the operations, which was a bit tricky. And we implemented the system, I think, when we had like 20 people in the team. We changed the system entirely, and we implemented a different system that was, I would say, factory conveyor belt style, meaning
okay.
the pipeline of the collaborations is divided into specialized roles and specialized departments. Each department has like a line manager, you so call it. Then you have campaign managers that oversee the campaign overall. You have a lot more functions, but this is like the few functions. And then you have pods or teams. And
And is
then
that all like headcount that you added directly, Sebastian? Not to interrupt you. Is that like all headcount that you like added as need arose, or you were like, all right, this is what's gonna take to get us to where we need
I
to be?
I would say it was like in terms of like who did what, it was mostly from the personnel we had. We had to reassign positions. It weren't
Mm,
new people that we hired for those positions because those positions don't exist in the world. Like no one
yeah.
does that. You
Yeah.
have people that have done some of it, but we mostly had to design it from scratch.
That's incredible. I know we're at time, but we had a question actually that fits right into what you were saying. So you have this large team. Some brands are not capable to add that many headcounts. I know some are working with agencies just like yours. How do you manage influencer retention? That's the number one question we get here at Social Snowballs: how to find influencers and how do you manage retention? How do you keep them posting and cross posting to other SKUs? Like, how do you get them excited now
Yeah.
that your program is so big and they're not one of 15, they're one of 500, they're one of 10,000, they're one of 20,000? And obviously the brand name has something to do with that. You mentioned that earlier, but how do you keep them excited and you retain them for the long haul?
That's a great question. I think that's part of a bigger conversation that we don't have time for. I would say
Hmm.
shortly. It's this is the question is in regards to when you're running programs like affiliate. What we do and what I suggest brands do is run multiple types of campaigns and programs at the same time. For example, have paid affiliate and brand partner, a brand barter all at once, and you integrate creators on one of the three. But if you would just say whichever of these, the response to keep creators is either keep doing campaigns with them, give them more interesting campaigns, more interesting stuff to talk about. Like if you just re-sign creators on the same brief for 5 months, they're going to get bored. If you give
Mm.
them interesting ideas over time to talk about, they're going to come up with incredible ideas themselves as well. And besides that is as you've managed as you would manage any relationship with someone you care about, just be there for the person, white glove, have an account manager that handles a number of influencers. Uh, Ideally, use AI so it helps because you have the
Okay.
ability to leverage it now. And just like send a DM, send a reply to the story, send a funny meme, like treat them as a person to person relationship that keeps them close to the brand. If you want to do it at scale, there's also Discord that you can do it through, or you leverage AI as we do to white glove multiple relationships.
Nice. So be proactive with your partnership with them. Sebastian, thank you so much for your time again.